Hi YouTube. So I just thought I'd give you a quick update on what's been happening over the last year with my health issues. You would have heard Rob mentioning in some of the videos that I've had some health complications over the last year. So I just thought I'd give you a quick update on what's been happening and where we're at this stage. So at the beginning of last year, I noticed that I started to struggle to run. My breathing was getting harder. I was starting to get cramping in my calves. And also I'd noticed that I started getting swelling in my feet and ankles, and it was actually spreading up my legs. I went to the doctors and they did a series of tests. They initially diagnosed nephrotic syndrome, which is basically your body just starts swelling because it's leaking protein, so it's actually retaining the water. They then sent me for a kidney biopsy to actually determine what was causing this nephrotic syndrome. That came back as saying that I had something called minimal change disease, which is a kidney disease. It was around the time that New Zealand was in lockdown for COVID when I got my biopsy done. So it was kind of good and kind of bad. It was good in the fact that I managed to get rushed straight through into the hospital, get the biopsy done, and also it meant that I had the whole ward to myself, which was kind of nice, not having other people there. So once I got the diagnosis, I got put onto a high-dose steroid, which is prednisone. After this, I felt absolutely great. My running improved drastically. I wasn't getting the breathlessness I was getting. I just felt on top of the world. I started lowering down the dosage, felt totally fine, and then after a particularly hard run I'd just done, I noticed that I started to struggle again. So I got further blood tests done, and it showed that I started to relapse with my disease, and so I was starting to leak protein again. They put me onto high-dose steroids yet again. This time round, I was getting a load more side effects that I hadn't got before. So I got the kind of swelling face, and yeah, I still got the kind of bruising, which is typical for prednisone. But yeah, it was the kind of the swelling of the face, which was the biggest notable thing. So after I got diagnosed with that, they kind of started to kind of low me down again. But I was finding after that relapse, I still was struggling with my breathing, especially when I was out running, and it was actually getting worse and worse. So I kept going to them and just finding out, okay, is there something wrong? They did loads of scans on my chest, couldn't find anything, but it actually got to a point where just walking up our road, it's only a slight gradient uphill, but just walking, my heart rate was going sky high, and I just wasn't able to kind of control my breathing. So I just kind of pushed a bit further and just kind of said, look, this isn't right, something is going on. So they then sent me to get a different type of blood test called a D-dimer, which is used to determine if there's a possibility of blood clots. The result came back from that, and the results were sky high. So that evening they just said, okay, you need to go into the emergency department straight away. So at 10 o'clock in the evening, we went to the emergency department to get some chest scan done. Because they don't do chest scans overnight, I had to stay overnight in the hospital, and I got booked in to get the scans done first thing the following morning. When the results came back from that scan that afternoon, it showed that I actually had blood clots on both lungs. So they immediately put me onto blood thinners, which I'm still on the blood thinners now. So that was back in October that I got that diagnosis. And yeah, it's been a lot better since I've been on the blood thinners. So while I was trying to get my breathing sorted and get the final diagnosis of the blood clots, I also noticed I started getting some problems with my hearing. So I first noticed when I was at work, I had a really weird bout of dizzy spells, and then all of a sudden it felt like my ear had blocked up. So I went to the doctors, and they gave me a series of antibiotics and ear drops to see if that would clear it up, thinking it was an infection. After none of those worked, so I had oral antibiotics and then I had ear drops, None of them worked, so she sent me to the specialist. And after seeing her and actually getting some scans done, she couldn't find anything wrong, but from my diagnosis of having blood clots, she thinks that it's probably due to having the blood clots and a small clot had travelled up my inner ear and actually damaged my hearing. So now, since that diagnosis, I've had to go and get myself some hearing aids. So now I've got that complication along with all the other kidney issues that I've been dealing with. But I've kind of just accepted it, and it's just part of my everyday life now, just having hearing aids. The only issue is I can't actually wear them when I'm out running, so I have to be extra cautious, especially when crossing roads and things like that, because I can still hear when I'm out, but it's just not as clear, especially in my right side. So following on from that, I continue to reduce my dosage down, just trying to get my fitness back up, just because with COVID, lockdowns and all the health issues and complications I've had over the last year, my fitness has actually gone down quite a lot. So just trying to get that back up again. Things seem to be going well, and then just after Christmas, probably mid-January, late January time, I noticed then things were getting a little bit harder again, and it turned out that I was relapsing again, and again it was after a hard effort running that I was doing, and so I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's due to those long, hard intensity runs that I was doing. So I used to run at kind of 60 plus heart rate for 3+ hours. I think that was what was causing the relapses. After that last relapse, I got put onto a medium dose steroid and has been slowly tapering down since then. Since then, I've actually been trying to focus on doing more low intensity running and low heart rate training, which has actually been helping, and it's actually seems to be working. My fitness is going up again. I'm able to run kind of faster and longer distances while keeping my heart rate down, and fingers crossed it hasn't been causing any relapses since then. So following that, the latest blow to my health issues was about the end of May, beginning of June time this year. I noticed I started to get slight haziness over my eyes, especially when looking into kind of car lights, and also if I'm in like the office and I'm looking out at the bright sunlight, I was getting this white haze that's kind of going over my vision. So I went to the opticians to find out what was causing this, and it came back that I've actually got grade 1 cataracts in both eyes. It's not enough to cause any issues with my vision too much. It's just, I just get the kind of the starring and the kind of, the haziness when I'm looking into bright lights a little bit. So when I told my specialist this, she's immediately put me onto a different medication because the actual cataracts were caused by long-term steroid use. I'm still on the steroids as well, but she's just trying to introduce this other medication as well, and then she'll start tapering me off the steroids a bit quicker, just to try and get me off because the amount of side effects and complications I've been having with them. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I am pretty stoked the fact that I've managed to do 2 races. So I did the Tarawera 21 back in February. This was during the relapse, but I'm so happy I actually managed to complete it and actually compete in a race. The second one was this weekend. I competed in the Wu 2K 21 course. It was probably the D course at the end of it, just because they had to change the course multiple times. That was due to the fact that there was a weather bomb hitting Wellington this weekend. So the weather was pretty terrible during the race, up to 140k winds, rain, hail, mud. So it was pretty bad, but I had an absolute blast. It was a great ran it with my friend, and we just had fun the whole way around. And I've just been trying to keep my intensity down the whole time, and even during the race I was just trying to keep my heart rate down just to try and eliminate the risk of having a relapse. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. But having these complications and these health scares that I've been having in the last year, it's actually made me really think about kind of my outlook in life. And actually, you just got to go out there and enjoy life when you can, because you never know when things are going to happen. You're going to have health complications as you get older, but you never know when they're going to happen. So you just got to get out there and live life and just enjoy life as much as you can. I have found during this time as well, running has kind of been my saviour. So it's really helped my mental health. So when I've been going through all the stresses and things that have been happening, it's kind of just helped just getting out into nature and actually helping to clear my head on all the kind of worries that I've been having. And it's been a massive, massive help. And so that's why I've been pushing through and just trying to get out whenever I can. And that's why I've just been continuing to do the videos that we've been putting up onto the YouTube channel, even when I was going through all these health scares. Thank you for watching this, and I hope people have been enjoying the running adventure videos that we've been putting up. If you do like them, please feel free to like and subscribe. We will try and get many more videos up as soon as the weather clears up again. But yeah, we enjoy making them and we enjoy kind of putting them out there for the audience. But yep, that's all from me. So see you next time. Bye.